Hey everyone, this is Mark, and this is my Stoneblock Let's Play series for Minecraft, episode 5. I just wanted to start off and show you some of the things I'm doing. I've been working on some building right now, and as you can see I've been making a fair amount of seared stone, and that is for this little project over here. I decided I wanted a big, open, sort of natural cave to serve as a decorative element to the whole base. So this is going to be eventually a open, rough cave. I'm going to use some TNT to work the walls a little bit. You can see I've started to do it over there. But my biggest problem is clearing away all this stone. So I made a couple tools to help me. First, I did make a furnace generator just to give me some power. The second thing I made is a builder from RF Tools. Now, the builder does a lot of stuff, but I am using it in a very basic mode to clear these big areas of stone. So, and to show you how that works, I'm using this shape card. And it's, as you can see, it's just clearing quarry. So it's basically going to remove all the blocks in the area. And to use this, we shift right click on the builder itself, and then we mark the corners of what we want to clear. And I want to clear from here all the way over to this back corner. Alright, so now I have a shape card that shows, that has a basic layout of what I want to clear. If I stuck this in the machine as I just did, it's only going to clear a 1 block high area that covers that whole marked area. So I am going to change that. I know that I want it 10 high. The offsets this calculates are to the center of the cleared area. So if I just ran this now, it would go 5 up and 5 down and then clear out that whole corner. So what I really want to do is, if I offset this by 5, it's going to shift the clearing area up by 5, which means it's going to clear basically at ground level and out. You can see I'm doing a box, I'm doing a solid, so it's going to clear everything out of that. You can do other shapes here, you can do hollows, you can do circle squares, so on. Usually when the builder clears space, it throws everything into storage that's connected to it, either above or below. Since I don't actually care about the stone I'm getting, I just marked it to void stone. What it's going to do is pick up some of the torches that I have scattered around there, and this is one of the difficulties of using this, is the fact that as it clears, it's creating a lot of dark space that mobs spawn in, and so I kind of have to hang around and watch this clear and put down new torches as it goes, which just to save myself from having to fight, you know, the 10 or 20 skeletons like I had to fight before when I wasn't paying attention. So I have this this generator is fueled up and running slowly. It's producing 40 RF per tick, not a whole lot. I could upgrade that, but I don't really have the grid power I need yet to do that. So I've just kind of been letting this run at its slowest speed. I've also got the highlights turned on so I can see where it's actually working, just to make sure it's not doing something dumb as I told it to. It's only running 1 cycle, because if it doesn't clear an area, I want to see why. And that's it. So it's ready to go now. It has a little bit of power, so it's going to kick off really fast, and then it's going to slow down because it takes a fair amount of power to clear each block. So let's just turn it on, and you can see right away that it just sucked down all the power it had to clear those blocks. And you'll notice that it hasn't cleared all the way back. That block that I marked is actually parallel to this line. And what it's doing is it clears chunk by chunk. So this is I think it's a chunk boundary. If I turn this on, yeah, you can, whoa. It's really hard to see, but there is a chunk boundary. Let me do that. That might be easier to see. Yeah, there you go. You can see that that's the chunk boundary. So it clears on chunk boundaries, which is actually good because it makes it a little easier to manage the light levels. And I can go in and break down. Usually what I've been doing is breaking down a path so I can climb up here and just throw a torch or two down just to save myself a little bit of a headache. And it will actually, it'll clear the torches away, and if it actually breaks the torch, it will stick it in this chest. It's not actually breaking any torches yet because I put them on top, but if I put a torch, say there, when it gets to that spot, it's going to go ahead and just pick up that torch and throw it in the chest. And usually I've been running with, I guess I better light that bridge, actually. That would be a good idea. And you can see the highlight from the mob grinder. It looks like when I'm showing the work that it's doing, it actually also lets me see through walls so I can see areas that are unlit. I actually, when I was first setting this up, I ended up with a cave way up in the ceiling because I was dumb. So I had to go clear that out and deal with the mobs there. But nothing major. Anyhow, that's the builder. I am going to keep running this for a while and monitoring this as it goes. And I will be back with some more stuff to see in a few minutes. Hey everyone, I am back. As you can see, as soon as I open this up, this was where we set up that builder, which is still here. When we set it up, this was all, it wasn't quite solid rock, but it was pretty much a big chunk of rock. And as you can see, the builder has done a slow but steady job of tearing all this out and leaving me with a nice empty space. I've done a little bit of dynamiting, but clearly I need to do a lot more. I do want to make this all look like a big natural cave, so that's just going to take some time as I accumulate gunpowder from our mob farm. Speaking of mob farms, we've been getting a fair amount of stuff from this, but the biggest thing we've been getting is loot bags. And we have a lot of loot bags that we need to deal with because they're filling up our storage and making it difficult to get the stuff that we really want. So I am going to make a bag opener, which is a really simple block. And I did move the mob farm a little further away from our main base, and so it takes a little while to get back and forth. So I am going to make a bag opener, which is a very simple recipe. I think I have everything I need. And I'm also going to make a bag recycler. No. Loot recycler. And the loot recycler can take most of the stuff that comes out of bags. There's a lot of stuff in loot bags we don't care about. It can take that stuff and turn it back into loot bags. So the other thing I'm going to do is bag store. Is make this bag storage. And the bag storage, well, you'll see in a minute. It basically compresses bags into just a storage block so they're not taking up so much inventory room. And none of these things require power. They're all pretty simple devices. I guess I will throw them storage. The opener and the recycler. So if I take a couple bags out of here and stick them in here, you will see that it runs this little bar and then it opens a new bag and it gives us whatever was in the bag and it stores it here. So you can see we get apples and mushrooms and cakes and a bunch of stuff that, well, cakes particularly are going to take up a lot of space that we don't really care about a whole lot. The ultimate thing to do is going to be pipe these out of here into the bag opener, well, into the bag storage, because to show you what that does, if I throw a bunch of uncommon loot bags in here, you can see it's slowly telling me that I'm storing a bunch and what I need to take out this kind of bag, and you can cycle the bag you're taking out so you can target specific loot, because you can, if you do this, I think, maybe not. I thought you could, there it is. You can actually see what loot bags produce. So, some of this stuff, Manulin and Draconium, is worth targeting. So you may want to open specific loot bags. In particular, what am I looking for? I have a plan for cows in a jar. So I'm going to open a bunch of epic loot bags by cycling all these loot bags into the bag storage. And I really need to organize my inventory so I can do this a little more efficiently. I do have some junk in here. And the epic loot bags I can just throw in here because I actually want what they're producing. And again, eventually I can automate this so we're not sitting here doing a manual process. Automation is always good. And these are relatively easy to automate. I just need to figure out what sort of pipes I want to use. Okay, so let's look at, this is some stuff we don't really care about. So if I stick this in the loot, and not all of it will recycle. If I do that enough times, let's see, gold I'm going to keep. Wow, we're getting so much stuff. I'm going to not care about chance pendants and portal charms right now. I should be able to, yeah, there we go. See, it actually turns them into bags. So eventually we can do that for all our loot that we don't care about. We don't really care about records. The gold armor is actually useful because you can melt that down and turn it into just gold ingots, because the smeltery is good for that. So we can take that stuff out of here. The rest of that, we probably care about most of this. So I'm not gonna get super detailed on this right now. But that's how those work, and this gives us some more room to get some more loot that we care about here. So I'm going to go melt this gold, and our farm can continue, our mob farm can continue to run and get us more stuff. And eventually I'll be able to pull out the cows in a bottle that I want, hopefully, because those are going to be useful for... See, are we empty here? We are, and you need 3 more pieces of stone. So I'm going to turn that off so I can go ahead and melt all those as well. Just let that run for a minute. So the other thing I did in between, I cleaned up a little bit here. As I said, I wanted to automate charcoal, so I have we have a charcoal store here. We have a furnace here that has a guaranteed supply of tiny charcoal that we can use for manual burning. And we have this furnace to start at the beginning. We have the bonsai pot producing materials, and I need to put a void upgrade on that to make sure it doesn't get backstuffed. A filter transfer node that is pulling oak wood out of here that goes across the top and feeds into the furnace. Furnaces are sided like a vanilla furnace. You put things to cook in the top. You pull materials that have been cooked out of the bottom, and you feed fuel in from the side. So the wood goes in the top. It gets cooked by the tiny charcoal. The finished charcoal comes out the bottom, goes into this analog crafter, and the analog crafter basically does whatever crafting recipe you fill in here. And turning charcoal into tiny charcoal is really simple. You just need one piece of charcoal to make 8 tiny charcoal. I think it's 8, maybe it's 9. There is between these two blocks, there is a flat transfer node that is pulling the tiny charcoal out of the analog crafter into this frame drawer, and then the frame drawer is feeding the charcoal into the side of the furnace and into the side of our manual furnace out there. So, and this transfer node does split charcoal into our accessible storage drawer and into the analog crafter. So let's find out what it really produces. One charcoal produces 8 tiny charcoal. That is what I thought. So this is really slow. It only produces 1 wood like every, 10, 15 seconds or something. But because 1 wood produces 8 tiny charcoal eventually, we're guaranteed to have enough tiny charcoal to keep this running, even though we're splitting the output between both furnaces. And as you can see, it's backfilling this already. So we're going to have plenty of fuel to keep our furnace running. And, when we need to smelt stuff, we can on demand. The other thing I did was I automated's too strong a word, but I cleaned up our clay production and our dirt production. If you remember, we were throwing organics into a chest on top of a hopper, on top of a barrel, which was outputting to another chest. I just streamlined that a little bit. So these storage crates, there's one here for the dirt input and one here for the dust that we turn to clay. I put a few signs up there so I can remember which is which. In the back, there's hard to see, but there's a transfer node there that's pulling out of each of those. This is our sink, which is still accessible from the front, that's keeping this barrel full of water so we can make clay. There's a transfer node on the bottom that is pulling out the final result into the drawer out front, and this is doing the same thing. This is just, you can see it's composting right now. So that just simplifies making some basic stuff. I did open up this room here too, so we have some space to work. And all right, I think the next thing I want to do is start a farm, because we do have enough. I think we have enough. I should go look. Before I say this, I should look. I think we have enough inferium to actually start farming some inferium. And it would be nice to get some mystical agriculture going. We have 2 stacks, so that's enough to get going. And as you can see, the loot bags accumulate pretty quickly. The epic loot bags I actually am going to open by hand because they have useful stuff in them sometimes. And this is completely backed up. We don't really care about the diamond swords, so they're nice, but they're not that nice. Yeah, I'm going to have to do something about this. I think the chance cubes can also be recycled. Yes. So I'm going to have to do something about this, like the moving wand and the building scepter and the diamond chest transporter. There's an acceleration wand, which we want, and a displacement wand, which, I'll keep one of each of these, but for now we don't really care about them. We have several of those, so I'm just going to pitch these in here for now. And the rest of this is, at least useful, so I'm going to keep it. But we do have enough inferium to get some seeds going. So I am going to craft some inferium seeds, And then I need to figure out where I'm going to plant some Inferium seeds, because I haven't really done any digging other than that giant grotto over there, and I don't really want to use that for a farm. So we are going to need some regular seeds. And if I remember right, the Inferium seed, we want the tier 1. Inferium seed is really pretty simple to make. I'm going to make a couple of these. You know, I'm just going to make as many as I can with the seeds that I grabbed. So I can make 5. That's pretty good to start. We'll need some dirt. I don't really have a place to put this, so I will stick it here. I did plant these sugar canes a while ago. I needed paper for a filter, I think. So I'm going to stick these here. And then I have mattock, so I can mattock that. I can plant these seeds. And as you will see, they grow pretty slowly. So this is not a permanent arrangement. I'm just going to stick these here for now, so I have them started. And yeah, I guess we can go here. That's really weird. I have no idea why the blocks are floating in there. I don't know what happened to the rest of my sugar cane either there. Alright, so we have some planted Inferium. As you can see, it's just going to be incredibly slow. And I'm 90% sure that bone meal doesn't actually work on that, so we're kind of stuck waiting for it to grow. And I'm going to stick this stuff in here. This is sort of a drawer of animal and plant products. And let's see. I have some bone meal, so let me just prove to myself that I was right, that this doesn't actually work on these. Yeah, it doesn't do anything. So you can't bone meal those, you just have to wait for them to grow. Eventually what I want to do is, we've picked up several growth crystals. So I will put some growth crystals down somewhere and give us an actual, yeah, there's another growth crystal. I think we have a tier 3 around somewhere. Yeah, there, growth crystal tier 3. I think what I'm going to do is turn this little room into sort of a decorative intersection, and then probably punch a room out that way, and then run a corridor out this way and do the same thing, and maybe just go vertical here and do a vertical farm, you know, one here and one there. Maybe do a farm and chickens over here, so this side will then sort of be resource production. I think I'm going to use both chickens and mystical agriculture for most of my resources. So let me go away again, and I will take a look at digging some stuff out and giving us some room to work over there real quick. I will be back in a minute or two. Okay, we're back. And now we have a bit of a garden. So I just dug out a quick room. I went vertical, so I have a little work area cut out above and actually below this. If you're wondering how I'm moving, I actually built a couple of quick open blocks elevators. This is just an area that I can use for automation or storage or whatever I need that's out of the way and not visible up in the garden area. So I went ahead and made some more Inferium seeds. So we have 9 of those going. I planted some carrots. I planted some rice and some wheat. And then upstairs I planted some, there's another utility room, which is below this garden. And I've just planted some pumpkins here because I needed pumpkins. Because I'm going to go ahead and make the first Inferium mystical agriculture seed that I want to make, which is the nature seed. I did also put some of these growth growth crystals. This is a tier 2 growth crystal in both of these setups. There's 2 stacked. I don't know if I put 2. One of these, I didn't have enough to do 2. Well, I'm missing. Yeah, the upper one has 2. I'm still, oh no, they both do have 2. Anyhow, so the growth crystals do speed up the growth. That's why we're actually getting Inferium from these. And you can see you right click to harvest and the plant stays in the ground. And 99% of the time you just get Inferium from those. Occasionally you'll get a seed. And, you know, standard crops, you can right click harvest to get the resources without replanting all the seeds. So pretty easy. And you can see that the growth crystals are working. Every once in a while you will see, I believe you will see a, well, maybe not. Maybe I'm thinking of another mod that was doing that. I thought you got a little bone meal animation occasionally from these, but clearly crops are growing pretty quickly. Anyhow, so to make the nature seed, we are going to need some sugarcane and some cactus. We already have the pumpkins we need, and we have wheat. So those are the 4 things we need, because we need to, we're going to need some prismarine as well, or prosperity shards too. So the way you make these seeds is, here's the nature seed, and you can see that it's made with a tier 1 crafting seed, surrounded by some Inferium. As you'll see, Inferium is pretty much the basis of everything in mystical agriculture. So we will probably have giant stacks of Inferium farms eventually. And there are multiple tiers of these seeds that give better results. We need some nature clusters, and the nature clusters are why we needed these crops. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to make 4 of those, since that's all we have enough to make right now. And we need a tier 1 crafting seed, which is a base crafting seed surrounded by Inferium essence. And to make a base crafting seed, we need a regular wheat seed surrounded by 4 prosperity shards, which I think, do I have? Yes. So I can do that, and then I can do this to give us our base. Then I can do this. And I need just a bit more Inferium, which I have. And there we have a nature seed. So the nature seed is going to produce nature essence. And I'm only going to plant 1 of these right now because I don't really have everything I need to make a bunch of these. And I'm going to go ahead and stick this up here. I will show you what we can do with that. So this seed, if you look at the uses for it, it produces, and this is sort of also what it produces when it just grows, it produces nature essence. And nature essence you can use in combination with other essences or by itself to make a bunch of sort of generic plant and soil-based blocks. So making grass blocks is fine. We actually should make some dirt seeds too. You can make cactus, you can make sugarcane, pumpkin, so you can bypass sort of the farms for all these basic vanilla plants just by making the nature essence. You know, beetroot, carrot, poisonous potatoes, and then some oddball sort of products. You can combine it with stone essence to get mossy stone and mossy stone bricks. We don't really care about stone. Again, you know, you can get saplings, you can get apples, and I'm pretty sure that is, you can get netherwort if you combine it with nether essence, which comes from obviously nether seeds, and then end essence, you can get chorus fruit. So, you can get mineral saplings and sponges as well from spider essence and slime essence of all things. I guess spider essence because it's web-like. So nature essence is a good sort of first step, mostly because it'll give us grass and mycelium. and some other basic blocks like that that we may need from time to time, but don't really need a lot of. So I'm not really stressed about having only a few of these. I'll probably make like 3 total or something just to have them available. So that's the basics of mystical agriculture and how you get resources out of seeds. One of the things we're going to have to do is obviously plant a lot more Inferium. And thinking about it, now that I can make wheat and carrots from the nature essence, I probably will get rid of those 2 farms and just turn them into Inferium farms. But I do want rice growing, because you can't get rice from nature essence. It's actually Addition's plant. But rice is really useful, and among other things you can use rice for, you can make slime balls. So I mentioned earlier that I have a plan for milk. So you can see you can make rice dough, which is just 3 rice, and then you can use that to make slime balls. And among the things you can use slime balls for is, in a slimy generator, 4 slime balls plus milk gives you 400 RF per tick over 24 seconds. So a pretty good chunk of RF from slime and milk. So my plan is, if you look at the cow in a jar produces milk, and it just passively produces it. It doesn't produce a lot, so we're going to have to get a few of these, but I'm going to automate emptying cows in a jar into some mechanism that will give us buckets of milk. I'm going to automate the creation of slime balls from rice, and then feed both those materials into a slimy generator or 2 to get us our first power, hopefully. I can do most of that with transfer nodes. I haven't thought about how I'm going to do the bucket filling yet, because we need to make the slime balls, we need to fill buckets of milk and we need to fill buckets of water. So we may actually sort of need power to make power. I'll have to figure out a vanilla method to fill those buckets. But anyhow, that's sort of the look ahead at what I want to do next time. And I think at this point, we're probably getting to a wrapping up spot. It doesn't seem like we did a whole lot this episode. I did some little update things, but next time I think I'm going to focus on one big project. We did clear this entire area, and I'm going to be dynamiting and decorating this as a sort of off-camera project. Hopefully it'll be something that looks cool. I want to plant some trees in here. I want to make it sort of a garden, maybe run a stream or a water feature through the middle, because then I can go fishing. I did make a bridge out of this, and I will tear down the builder because we don't need it anymore. But anyhow, yeah, I think that's the plan for next time. Work on getting some power going. I'll also have to figure out where I'm going to put that. So anyhow, I think that's a good wrapping up point. As always, thanks for watching. And if you enjoyed what you saw, leave a like if you will, and consider subscribing if you want to see more. Comments are always appreciated if you have any suggestions, in particular about bucketing up liquids without power. I'm going to have to do some research on that and figure out what I want to do. But anyhow, that's it for now. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.